Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie opens with specialists handling a dangerous unexploded bomb, the NM644, at a restricted site. Zhou and Chang, one of the specialists, is distracted while his colleague works on defusing the bomb. Chang is scribbling in the sand, trying to recall something he has forgotten. Meanwhile, in a Seoul hospital, Chang's pregnant wife, Ji Young, is having a checkup. She asks the doctor about the baby's gender, but when Chang calls her, stuck in traffic, she teases him and won't tell him. Suddenly, news flashes on a large screen about an earthquake that has destroyed a cultural center in North Korea. As the broadcast shifts to an emergency alert for aftershocks from the 7.8 magnitude quake, Chang's water bottle starts shaking, and a massive earthquake hits. Frantic and worried about his wife, he tries to drive through the chaos, but crashes. He witnesses buildings collapsing around him, and runs for safety. News reports that Mount Paektu, on the China-North Korea border, has erupted with a magnitude of 8. The Chinese government is sending troops, and the US is evacuating its citizens. Professor Jang Bong-rae, known as Robert, is preparing to leave for the US, when Jeon Yu-kyung, the senior secretary to the president, asks for his help with the eruption, due to his research on Mount Paektu. Initially reluctant, Robert agrees to help after being threatened. At a crucial meeting, officials discuss the 4 magma chambers under Paektu. One has already exploded, and the remaining ones are at risk. The first 2 eruptions are expected to be mild, but the final one could devastate 48% of the Korean peninsula. Robert suggests inducing a 600 kiloton explosion to relieve the pressure, collapsing the ground around the chamber, but his plan to use nuclear fission is met with resistance. In the president's office, Robert is anxious and advises waiting for the disaster to pass, rather than using his plan, which might cause more destruction. The president ignores him and orders Jeon Yu-kyung to obtain a nuclear weapon by any means necessary. Meanwhile, Chang is in a car with a colonel, who gives him a new mission, and tells him to report to base immediately. He tries to refuse, because he's about to be discharged, but the colonel offers to put him and Ji Young on the US evacuation list. Chang agrees, wanting to keep his family safe. Later at night, Chang tells Ji Young about the mission, but leaves out the details, to avoid worrying her. He tells her to go to their meeting point, and after he completes his mission, they will go to Incheon port, to leave Korea. He promises to finish quickly and be there on time. The next day at the base, Chang attends a mission briefing about North Korea's remaining 6 ICBMs and Lee Jun-pyong, a North Korean informant now in detention. Chang is made the captain of the technical team, responsible for handling uranium and detonators. As both mission teams fly to North Korea, Alpha 1's plane explodes, due to weight and altitude issues. The tech team's plane also malfunctions, leading them to parachute to safety. Chang lands near the Alpha 1 crash site, where General Choi orders him to retrieve a black bag, with a map and GPS tracker. Chang finds that the Alpha 1 team didn't survive. With no backup, securing Jun-pyong and the nuclear weapons becomes the tech team's job. Upon arriving at the detention center, Chang finds chaos. The security personnel have been killed in a riot, and most prisoners have escaped, leaving Lee Jun-pyong alone. Suspecting Jun-pyong might be a double agent, the team follows the GPS tracker to find him. Jun-pyong mocks them, and Chang orders the nervous Kim to open the door. After explaining the mission to Jun-pyong, Chang lets him take a shower. Jun-pyong cuts his hair, removes the GPS tracker, and finds a photograph of Chang and Ji Young's baby in Chang's wallet. He also discovers a map of the mines, tears it up, and eats it. As they travel, they pass a collapsed statue of North Korea's leader. Jun-pyong comments on feeling guilty about the statue. Chang realizes his wallet is missing, and asks Jun-pyong about it. Jun-pyong returns the wallet, joking about eating the map. Tae-sik, angered, punches Jun-pyong, who laughs it off. At a blocked tunnel, Jun-pyong says he needs to use the restroom. While Tae-sik retrieves a cigarette lighter Jun-pyong tossed, Jun-pyong removes his handcuffs, and knocks Tae-sik unconscious. Chang grows concerned, finds Tae-sik injured, and discovers Jun-pyong has left a tracker on Tae-sik, to mislead them. The tech team searches for Jun-pyong, who has returned home to his dying wife. He questions her about their daughter, and enraged by her betrayal, shoots beside her head. The tech team reaches the collapsed statue, and remembers Jun-pyong's comment. They check nearby apartments, and hear a gunshot. They find Jun-pyong with a gun, and Chang orders him to drop it. Jun-pyong complies, and Nam, a subordinate, handcuffs him. They proceed to a machinery complex, where the 6 ICBMs are supposed to be. Jun Pyong mocks In Chang's plan, and reveals that the factory they are at is a decoy. The real factory is underground. He suggests turning off the generator, and using night vision goggles to avoid detection. Following the advice, the team splits up. One group turns off the generator, while the other heads to basement 2. During a fight, Tae-sik throws a grenade in front of the generator, causing the power in basement 2 to go out, but basement 1 remains lit. In Chang and Jun Pyong are trapped by North Korean soldiers. Jun Pyong asks for a gun, and In Chang hands him one with rubber bullets. He shoots In Chang, and then introduces himself to the soldiers. As one soldier checks In Chang, he and Jun Pyong surprise and attack them. The tech team regroups inside a container, which Jun Pyong reveals as a secret elevator. It takes them down to the real factory, where they find the 6 ICBMs. They handcuff Jun Pyong to a metal bar, and put on safety gear to remove the warheads from the propellant. They separate the uranium casing, take radioactive readings, and mount the cores into the detonator. During this, the second eruption occurs. They retrieve 5 cores, but the last one remains stuck in a warhead. In Chang decides to break the warhead to get the core. Meanwhile, Jun Pyong escapes when the gates start closing, and blocks the gate, leaving before the team realizes he's gone. Outside, he makes a phone call, receiving orders to retrieve the detonator, and bring a technician to disassemble it. He returns to rescue the tech team trapped below. Meanwhile, a dam collapses, causing a tsunami in Seoul. Ji Young, on her way to the meeting point, encounters the tsunami, but manages to survive. The tech team and Jun Pyong safely escape the collapsing factory. In Chang reports to the general that they have successfully retrieved the warhead cores. Yu Kyung finds Robert, who is hiding under his desk with his laptop. Robert explains that their eruption estimates were incorrect, because 80% of the deposit in the 7th mine is iron ore, making the eruption faster than expected. He suggests hitting a weak point in the 7th mine could stop the final explosion. While the tech team is loading the detonator into their vehicle, In Chang is threatening Jun Pyong to get a map, so they can leave. Jun Pyong suddenly spots a laser aiming at them, and pulls In Chang down, as enemies start firing. The team takes cover and returns fire, but the tech team is hit one by one. Jun Pyong realizes the enemies have heat detectors. In Chang gives Jun Pyong a gun, and drives a truck towards the enemies, stabbing the gas tank to create a diversion. The truck explodes as Jun Pyong checks everyone. Sergeant Min shoots the truck's gas tank right after In Chang jumps out, who orders a retreat, when he realizes the enemies are Americans. He finds one of the soldiers on the ground, confused to discover they are Americans. In Chang jumps into Jun Pyong's vehicle, but is soon tased by him. The Americans, alerted by the South Korean mission, stop them due to a violation of the US alliance. American soldiers retrieve the tech team, but they notice the uranium and the captain are missing, and start searching for them. Meanwhile, In Chang frees himself from the cuffs, while Jun Pyong is away. As Jun Pyong returns, In Chang drives off, causing Jun Pyong to almost fall out of the car. They fight, and the car swerves towards a cliff, before crashing into a tree branch. In Chang crawls away, but Jun Pyong pins him down. They both lose consciousness after a struggle with a taser gun. At the evacuation meeting point, Ji Young arrives as buses are leaving, and manages to board one after being recognized as In Chang's wife. She meets Robert, who is leaving, in disappointment with the South Korean government. At the port, Ji Young is stopped from boarding the ship, due to her lack of US citizenship. Back in the north, In Chang and Jun Pyong are on foot, heading towards Bocheon, near Paektu Mountain, carrying the detonator. They stop at a store, and later, Sergeant Min and an injured Tae-sik arrive with a bus. They evade the Americans, and the third eruption destroys the bridge, preventing the Americans from following them further. Meanwhile, at the port, the evacuees are panicking. Robert protects Ji Young, and decides to help stop the final eruption. He calls Yu Kyung, and asks her to steal military documents. Yu Kyung manages to get the documents, but is stopped by the Americans. The president sends his men to help her, and she eventually meets up with Robert and Ji Young. They try to contact In Chang. In Chang is surprised to learn that Ji Young is with Yu Kyung and Robert, and she gets emotional knowing her husband is in North Korea. Robert and Yu Kyung tell In Chang to go to the 7th mine instead, who immediately changes his course. Jun Pyong, who decides to leave the uranium with In Chang, so the mission can be completed, arrives in Bocheon, and meets his traumatized daughter. Chinese gangsters, who were expecting the uranium, arrive and shoot Jun Pyong, when they realize he doesn't have the package. Americans also arrive, and exchange fire with the Chinese. In Chang arrives and stops the gunfire. As the Chinese and Americans discover the detonator's timer has been activated, they realize there's no way to stop it, and flee. Chang orders Sergeant Min to take Taesik to the hospital, and take Junpyoung's daughter with him. Junpyoung says a final goodbye to his daughter, before leaving with Chang, to head to the 7th mine. Chang contacts Ji Young, who, feeling the danger, begs him to come back. He ends the call, and she tells Yu Kyung and Robert she is going into labor. They rush her to the hospital, as the volcano erupts. Chang and Junpyoung reach the mine, and cut the cables of the elevator to go deeper. Junpyoung tells Chang to find another rope, and closes the elevator to keep him out. Junpyoung asks him to take care of his daughter, before letting the elevator fall. Weak from the fall, Junpyoung struggles to push the detonator closer to LA-24, the weak spot in the mine. Chang, devastated, drives away from Mount Paektu. The detonator explodes, and successfully prevents the eruption from destroying Korea. Both North and South Koreans celebrate. A year later, the reconstruction of the Seoul Metro is 74% complete. Robert has returned from the US, now feeling attached to his homeland. Yu Kyung welcomes him back. Meanwhile, Chang has adopted Junpyoung's daughter, and with his and Ji Young's son, they have become a happy family. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.